What's up, metal and heavy music fans? It's FlightOfIcarus again from metaltrenches.com. As always, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoy it, hop down the description, follow us on social media, and consider supporting us on Patreon and Subscribestar. But it is time for a very special episode of Bands That Changed My Life in keeping with the spooky Halloween season. And rather than focusing on a band or even necessarily a metal musician, I just wanted to talk about somebody who has also really impacted the direction of how I think about music and metal in general. It is the man responsible for the sound design and music that form arguably the most haunting and anxiety-provoking elements of one of my favorite games of all time, Silent Hill. Let's talk about Akira Yamaoka. My introduction to the series was through a friend who was also exploring metalcore, melodeath, and industrial music with me around this time in high school. He was currently playing Silent Hill 2, still probably my personal favorite in the series. I was intrigued by his strange and cryptic description of the game, including contorted monsters, thick fog, and ominous radio static. The game ended up being one of two that I requested that Christmas with the arrival of my PlayStation 2. I think that playing this mysterious and eerie game on a morning so associated with thanks and joy only served to further amplify its macabre tones. And while I could go on for hours about all of the aspects of the game that haunt my dreams to this day, it's the sound that I want to focus on here. From the aforementioned simplicity of radio static and the sounds of footsteps on steel grates, to the mesmerizing and profoundly sad piano of fan-favorite track Promise Reprise, I can think of few musicians and sound designers who so perfectly capture all things dark and chilling. And even if you have never played these games, chances are you've heard Akira's music featured in the background of other YouTube videos, as it tends to serve as quality atmosphere while also being highly monetization friendly. Likewise, I've heard so many bands cite Akira as an influence from technical and progressive death metal to ambient and industrial. While the latter musician's connections tend to be more obvious in orchestration, his music lends itself well to a broad spectrum of subgenres in its spirit as well. And it's no mistake that some of his heavier songs take on a more traditional industrial metal aesthetic. Akira himself cites Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails as his main inspiration, both performing and in music style. Other influences include Angelo Badalamenti of Twin Peaks and other David Lynch works fame, Metallica, and Depeche Mode. All of this, put simply, adds up to music that transcends simple genre definitions. While some may argue that his inclusion in this video series defies my general focus on all things metal, I've always been much more drawn to the idea of grouping things by feeling as opposed to actual instrumentation. With this in mind, it becomes impossible to exclude Yamaoka from this video series, as I consider his unmatched ability to provoke the darkest of emotions, often with only the use of a few simplistic tones, to be a pervasive influence on what music I find myself drawn to today. He possesses this uncanny ability to toy with our inner psychology, to confront our darkest shadows. Even few real-life experiences I've been through can quite match the very specific feeling of dread I still associate with picking up Silent Hill 2 or 3. Early memories of playing those games are imprinted in my brain, and the same feelings are evoked every time I pick them back up or listen to Akira's soundtracks. In other words, forget Pyramid Head. Yamaoka is the scariest monster to ever grace the world of Silent Hill. Wrap things up, if you've never played any of these games, I highly recommend it for all the reasons that I just listed, particularly 2 and 3. If you decide to do so, I encourage you to avoid the HD collection like the plague, as they were a infamously terrible port. Instead, I encourage you to pick up an actual console copy if you still have the consoles associated with them, or pick them up on an emulator for PC. I promise that's the superior experience, and also if that just seems like too much of an undertaking, then you can also just check out the game soundtracks. They are highly worth it, and you can find most of them right here on YouTube in full. But of course, thanks as always for watching. Please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Once more, like the video, share it with others. That's the best way to grow our channel. And then hop down to the description. You can find links to all of our social media, our mailing list, and also just subscribe $1 a month even to our Patreon or Subscribe Star. It really helps me continue to support the channel. But for now, this is Flight of Icarus signing off. Happy Halloween, and I will see you in the trenches.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear. Oh, I forgot your name.
Who are you?
Oh, okay, thanks. Happy birthday, dear. Who are you? Happy birthday to you. Happy 31st birthday.